Right guys, welcome back to another video, and obviously by the thumbnail and the title you can see it's the reaction for England and Scotland last night. First of all, I just want to get this out there first of all. Before we go into England, because I'm an English guy, well played Scotland. They were the better team. If they had a striker, they would have won that match. And I mean like a prolific striker. I just want to get that out there first before people, maybe Scottish, watch this video and be like, oh, he's just talking about England. I am going to be talking about England mostly because I'm an English dude, right? And I'm frustrated and I'm pissed off. But I just wanted to say that first, get it out there, that you guys did really well. I think you deserve to beat Czech Republic. You deserve to beat us. If football was fair, you probably should be on at least 4 points right now. But obviously it's not, so you're on one. But yeah, let's go into the England situation. My main problem is the manager, as most of you guys know. Right? He's the main problem. Now, I'm an older guy, not older. I'm older than most people that probably watch this, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I'm 30, right? So I'm older than like probably the 24, 25 age range that probably watch these videos. I don't know the age range, but basically what I'm trying to say is I remember when Southgate was a manager, right? He's only ever had one club job. He's had 2 international jobs, under 21s and England. And it was a decent play. It was all right. It was just no frills. It was just straightforward, simple, just solid-ish, I suppose. Not great, but solid. He took the Middlesbrough's manager job. It was controversial at the time. The Middlesbrough fans didn't want it. So I saw this, right? So it said on Wikipedia, it said controversial appointment, right? It was like quite well known that it was a controversial appointment. Yeah. His second season, he finished 13th after finishing 12th the first season, right? So this is after Middlesbrough have had like 9 seasons in the Premier League. So it's not like Middlesbrough these days that you look at now and you think, oh, they're in the Championship, so 12th in the Premier League is quite good. No, Middlesbrough at the time, around that time, they had been in and around Europe. So 12th and 13th wasn't great for Middlesbrough at the time. So yeah, they had a disappointing second season the year after. And then he got relegated the third one and sacked. So zero progression, if anything, regression. So 12th, 13th, and 19th at the end. He got sacked in the Championship. Probably unfairly, I suppose. They were 4th at the time. But this is all he's done. This is literally his CV. He's done worse every single year he's managed. And now I'm going to show you another stat, which is his whole time at Middlesbrough, right, throughout those 3 seasons. There you go. So they played 151 matches. He's won less than a third. I'm just going to let you sit and look at that for a second, because it's ridiculous. Like, less than 30% win ratio. This is a guy who's in charge of our national team. Like, how is it? What's he done to? Like, where's his credentials? He did okay in the under-21s, but the under-21 management, everyone knows it's not really watched. It's not really watched, and what I mean by that is it's not watched because it's not really based on results as much. Like, results are great, but they're sort of secondary to getting players ready and for the national team, right? So he's probably worked with a lot of these players in the under-21s. So the fact he's not getting much out of them, I mean, it speaks volumes to me. It speaks absolute volumes to me. Like, if you're watching this and you're a fan of Southgate, please put in the comments of what you think he's good at, because I understand he's a nice guy, right? And I understand he's very good at talking, etc. A lot of people say that. I keep hearing this. I keep hearing it. He's a really good talker. He's a really good communicator. So why can't he communicate an effective plan to the England team? Because it doesn't look like we've got one. It does not look like we have one. And if he is such a good talker, then why don't you just become a businessman and do something like that? Like, I'm not hearing, oh, he's a great tactical innovator, or he's great at changing games through substitutions and overloads and the right flank. Like, something specific. I've not heard any of that. All I hear is he's a nice guy and he's a good talker. Okay, well, I talk to you guys. Am I a good talker? Maybe. Am I a nice guy? Try to be. So can I have the job? Am I allowed it? Like, just because he was a football player, and he's done nothing in management. Why does he get the job? And why do people continue to think he's very good? I just don't get it. So I'm going to get rid of this off the screen now. I'm just struggling. I'm really struggling. So I wanted you guys to see the team that I mocked up before the Euros started. And there's going to be a few names you're going to look at in the team and you're going to think, they're not even in the squad, Lewis. I know they're not in the squad. Like I said, this was done before. And it was also picked on the fact that Maguire and Henderson weren't going to be fit for the Euros, right? So this team now is coming up is based on that. So that was my team that I picked. This is in my drafts on Twitter. I never got around to posting this, but this was my team, right? Obviously, I went with Trent, and I went with Tomori. Oh, I think he's absolutely brilliant. AC Milan have just activated their clause to buy him, and Paolo Maldini is their technical director there. How good of a defender was he? So if he's buying Tomori, I'm not saying Mings has done bad. I'm not saying he's done bad. I'm not saying Stones has done bad. I'm not saying... No one in the defence really has done bad. We've not considered a goal, right? Pickford's done fine. No problem. The reason why I always have Tomori in my teams is because he's pace, right? So if we come up against Timo Werner, Asane, and Mbappe, etc., Tomori's there, right? He can match that. He is one of the fastest players in the world, Tomori. If you clock his speeds, he's one of the fastest in the world. Not only that, his only weakness really is in the air. But, I mean, how many times did you have to see our defenders win headers yesterday? Anyway, less about him because he's not in the team. Less about Trent, he's not in the team. Let's talk about the midfield going forward. So I went with Bellingham in front of the defence. Now, I've seen him for Dortmund, and he's very good at receiving the ball, but receiving the ball in a situation where it allows him in one movement to receive it and then push through. So he'll receive it on a half turn, he'll turn, and if he sees a gap, he'll push through into that gap, right? He's progressive, he's direct, he tries to hurt people, rather than Declan sideways, who just fullback. Oh, fullback's a marked. Centre back. Like, I'm sick to death of watching it. To death. Now, I've got Foden in front of him. I prefer Foden in the centre. Now, Foden works well at Man City on the wings because he's got Kevin De Bruyne in the centre to find him with the ball, right? To give him the ball. He's got Gundogan, who's better than most of our midfielders. De Bruyne, Rodri. They actually find Foden. We haven't got the players to find him on the wing, so he has to play in the middle and be our Kevin De Bruyne. He's not as good, obviously, but he needs to be. It's ridiculous. You can't just plug and play people in positions from club. It doesn't work like that because they've got different players. Now I've got Grealish on the wing. Now you could easily say that Grealish could find Foden. Fair enough. So that's why I've put them together on the left-hand side. They can easily just interchange if Grealish wants to play more centrally for a bit and Foden wants to go out wide to just confuse people a little bit. It works a lot. So yeah, them two can do that. And on the other side, I've got Mount and Sancho. Now, there's no reason for Mount being on that side and Sancho other than what I just told you about Grealish and Foden interchanging. But those four there, Grealish, Foden, Mount, Sancho, they're just exciting. They're young. They're energetic. They're technically brilliant. And they'll scare anyone. They'll scare any team because you have to double up on almost all of them. They're that good. And Harry Kane, he's been getting absolutely dragged through the mud on social media, right? And I'm an Arsenal guy. You can see with the kit behind me, and if you know me, right? So I don't say this as a Tottenham fan, but the fact that he's getting slated, right? He's not been playing well. I understand it, but he's not getting no service. We had one shot on target against Scotland, and that sounds really harsh on Scotland. They did really well defensively, but historically and level of player-wise, we should be having more than one shot on target. I think everyone should accept that, right? Even Scotland fans. We should be having more than one shot on target. Now, Harry Kane rarely has a shot off target. He's so accurate, his shots are like a laser. So there's obviously a problem, right? The problem is, at Tottenham, right, the defence is usually their problem, right? Tottenham do score a healthy amount of goals, I'm pretty sure. I mean, why else would him and Son be at the top of the list and he has the most assists, etc.? Like, they score a healthy amount of goals, right? Tottenham's problem is usually their defence and the guy in front of it. Now, for Tottenham, he comes deep, but he also has players in and around him interchanging and going past him. Now, if you look at those four players there behind him, they look like players to me who get in and around it. Grealish scores an assist. Sancho scores an assist. I mean, if you look at Sancho's stats this season, by the way, for Dortmund, like, if you don't watch the Bundesliga, Just pause the video right now. Just open a new tab, type into Google Jadon Sancho, right? And click on his Wikipedia, go down, because it's fact. Like, I'm not saying Wikipedia is all fact, but the stats are facts. If you just scroll down, if you go to 2020 to 2021, the season just gone, he had a bit of an injury. Go have a look at his assists and goals. You would think, from Southgate not giving him any minutes, you would think he'd scored 1 and assisted 2 all season. That's what he'd make you think if you've not watched the Bundesliga. Now just go and look at it. I'm not 100% sure. I think he scored and assisted 12 or more in both categories. I'm just going to go low. I think it's like 13, 14 plus on both. I'm pretty sure he scored and assisted 12 or higher. Right, so that's 24 goal contributions. That's the second most in the team. I don't know how many assists and goals Foden scores, but it's second to Kane probably. Right? Why this guy isn't playing is ridiculous. And people say, oh, he hasn't done that much for England. Yeah, because he's playing. He doesn't get played with these players that I'm putting in the team here. He gets played with Rice and Sterling and Rashford, who just they're faster than these guys, right? But England never have any space in behind against any team to exploit because every team sits deep. So start playing the players that are very good at the edge of the box and can create things, because that's what we need to do. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, to the game itself, the amount of times I saw Shea Adams drop in from the striker line into where Declan Rice should be and receiving the ball in the half turn and running at our defence was absolutely criminal. Like, he's supposed to be a defensive midfielder, right? And he's never there. He's never there. I don't know where he was. Like, in the first half, especially, Shea Adams, I'm guessing Southgate had a word with him because of it, because it was so obvious. He received the ball like 3 or 4, I think it was 3 times. Behind him, or the side of him, I don't know where he was. And Shea Adams has got like 10 yards either side. There's no way. Now, I don't know if that's bad communication from Mings and Stones, right? I think it's probably a bit of both. Or it's the fact that Rice should always be going like that, checking over his shoulder. If it's a defensive midfielder, that's what you should be doing. You have a look at N'Golo Kante, what he does. You have a look at Claude Makelele that he used to do. Gilberto Silva, the really top DMs of the Premier League history, right? Look at them all, what they do. Fernandinho, they're always constantly, Fabinho does it now, they're always constantly going like this. Just checking, just scanning, all the time. He never does it. Declan Rice never does it, and that's why he'll never be a top footballer. He just won't. That's why every single summer transfer window, oh, Declan Rice is going to this team for 80 million. Does he ever leave? Nope. Wonder why? Because his agent, he's peddling all that. That's what it is. His agent's just peddling it all. If someone thought it was worth it, they'd pay it. They'd pay it. Like, I don't get the hype around him. I understand he's all right. Oh, he's quite good for West Ham. I get it, because West Ham are totally different to England. They play different. They're seen as a different team. They're not seen as one of the best teams. They're seen as a mid-table team. So there's more space for him to. There's more space. There's less able players. So the less able players sit and allow Declan Rice to run with the ball a bit more and progress with the ball. But he doesn't do it for England. I don't know if he's scared. I don't know what it is. Now maybe you could say Lewis, it could be the manager, and you know what? It could be. It could literally be the fact that Southgate tells Rice, don't do anything fancy, because that's what Southgate was. He started as a defensive midfielder. And he got converted when he joined Aston Villa. When he joined Middlesbrough. So he was a defensive midfielder for Aston Villa, I think, and Watford. When he went to Middlesbrough, he then got played centre back. So maybe, and he was like that. He was very much just pass the ball, simple. So maybe he just wants his defensive midfielders to do that. So he maybe makes Rice look really average. I don't know the situation, but what I do know is. Rice has to assert. I don't know if he can. That's the thing. I don't know if he can do it. I'm just not a massive fan. I'm not a massive fan at all. I just think Jude Bellingham is so fearless, so good technically, so. Like, he's 17. The guy's 17, and for me, he's already better than Declan Rice. Just play him. Just play him. Spain have got Pedri in midfield. Now, they've got players that used to be like Xavi, Iniesta. And they're not scared to play Pedri. The guy's going to be ridiculous when he's 23. Like, just do it. Just play him. Just play all the 5 players there in midfield that are exciting. We know Bellingham, when he came on against Croatia, he won about 3 tackles and he intercepted about 3 passes from the Croatian midfield, and he was only on about 25 minutes. The guy does have the defensive capabilities to be able to play that position. But also, we're going to have more of the ball. England, we should have more of the ball, and with that team, you will get more of the ball. So he's more comfortable on the ball. When Declan Rice gets it, I just feel like, okay, well, Rice is on it now. He's just going to go backwards or sideways or forward, but slightly sideways. Right? He never actually punches the ball through their midfield. So if their midfield stood there and Declan Rice has got the ball, and he can see like a winger or a striker just there, or an advanced midfielder just there in the line, he'll not push it through. He won't do it. He won't take the risk. And it leads everyone to do what we all did last night for 90 minutes. Oh, because that's what we were all doing last night, right? You've got it, surely. No one enjoyed that. If you have to have players that take risks to win tournaments, now you can sit and say, "Oh, well, we've not considered a goal, Lewis, so you've been a bit harsh." That's not. It's not going to win you. It's not going to win you the whole thing. It'll win you a league. It'll win you a league in a Premier League season of 38 games, but it won't win you knockouts because eventually you'll have to go to penalties. And how good are we at them? Like, you have to take risks. You just do. I don't understand this safety first. Like, for example, okay. And I know this video has literally not been anything about the Scotland-England game, really. It's probably about my frustrations with the setup. And I don't even mind. I always press record and I just talk, right? So I'm just going to carry on where I am. I think the game spoke for itself. But when asked before the Croatia game why he picked Trippier at left back, I mean, most of you might know, but I'll tell you the direct quote from Southgate's mouth. When asked why Kieran Trippier is playing left back and not a left back, like a traditional left back like Shaw or Chilwell or even Saka, right? His response, and I quote, "He's more experienced and he can stop crosses from coming in the box." Now, first of all, I've never heard that from any manager ever. I've heard the saying stopping crosses, but I've never heard someone picked solely on that, right? Second of all, how defensive minded do you want to be? How safe? Like, who's picking a fullback to stop crosses from coming in the box? How is that even a... Can you imagine Sir Alex Ferguson saying that? Can you imagine Arsene Wenger saying that? Can you imagine Pep Guardiola saying that? Can you imagine Jurgen Klopp saying that? Can you imagine Mourinho? Maybe Mourinho, actually. But he wouldn't probably play a right foot there. He'd probably play a left back because he'd want the width anyway. Can you imagine all these top coaches ever saying those words? It's a mindset that Southgate's got. It's his mindset, and he can't change it, and I don't want him to change it. It's his mindset. I don't want to change anyone's minds. But you have to look at people, how they think about stuff, and that's his thinking. That's the way he is. So if the FA want boring football like last night, he's the guy. He won't get beat many times, but he won't win anything. I'd have rather got beat last night playing a lot better and just getting caught on the counter-attack. Because more often than not, playing like that will yield you more results than it won't. And yeah, I'll just get rid of that team. And I'm rambling. I know it's 18 minutes in. But yeah, congratulations to Scotland. They did really well. They probably should be on 4 points. They probably should be top of the group, let's be honest. England probably deserve to be like third. With 3 points. I think there's a slight part of me, and I don't know if this is true, this is totally conjecture, but there's a slight part of me that thinks that, for example, yesterday, we only made 2 subs, right? We only made 2 subs. He left 3 people. One shot on target at Wembley against Scotland, right? Against anyone, but especially against Scotland, who we want to win and they want to beat us, right? 80 minutes gone, 2 subs. He had 3 subs left. We had 1 shot on target. He didn't make us another sub for the last 12 minutes, 30 minutes. Now that to me, right, that is awful. That for me, if I was in charge, that'd be a sackable offence. If it would, because I don't want that mindset anywhere near. If it was my team, my country, my whatever, if I was in charge of that decision, that's not a mindset I would want around a team that I'm in charge of, right? As the technical director of the FA, whoever it is, I wouldn't want that mindset. I would at the very least be asking him what his thought process was on it, right? And I've thought about this, and I've thought, well, what was his thought process on it, Lewis? What could Southgate possibly have been thinking to not make 3 more subs or to try and win that game? Because he didn't try and win it. Now, the only thing I've come up with, And if there's anything else, please put it below. In fact, 2 things I've come up with. But if anything else, if it's not this, please put it in the comments and try and give my mind. Maybe I'm coming from a place of pessimism because I just think he's a very poor manager. But first of all, and this is probably the least likely. In fact, I'll go with the first of all, which is the most likely. I think most likely is he didn't know what to do. I think he's out of his depth. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think more than likely he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't think he knew how to change it. I don't think he knows what to do tactically. I think he's very poor. I think he's a decent coach, hence why in the under-21s he does a good job, because I think he's good at coaching players to be better. But I don't think he knows how to put players into systems and change games and exploit weaknesses and all that. I don't think he knows how to do it. I think he's just a coach. And coaches and managers are massively different. Massively different. Any manager will tell you it's totally different. Alex Ferguson, for example, for my opinion, the best manager ever in the world of football, in my opinion, like I said. Famously, he hardly ever ran his training sessions. Hardly ever. He just used to walk around and have a look. And he had specialised coaches like René Meulenstein, Brian McClare, Phelan, all those guys. He had all those guys. I've got his autobiography, by the way. That's basically why I know all the players. I'm not a Man United fan. All the coaches, sorry. But he didn't used to take coaching because it's a different thing. He's a manager. And managing and coaching is different. So first of all, that's the first reason. I think he just can't do it. I don't think he knows what to do. Second of all, and less likely, but still a possibility, which is scary to me, I think he wants to, or he doesn't care if he finishes second in the group because he knows it's a favourable draw. Now, a lot of people might think that and think, nah, there's no way he'd think that. But just how defensive he is and how inexplicable it is to not put on another 3 substitutions when you've got 5. If there's 3 subs allowed and you make 2, fair enough, he's not made 1. Still not great, but he's not made 1. But he could have made 3. He could have brought Sancho on. He could have brought Dominic Calvert-Lewin up alongside Kane, got a bit more direct maybe. He could have put 3 at the back, pushed people on. No, not Gareth. Not our Gareth. Let's take a 0-0 at Wembley against Scotland in a major European competition. So yeah, it might be just total bullshit, but I honestly think he doesn't mind. I think you'll see the same pragmatic, boring bullshit against Czech Republic because I don't think he cares about finishing second. I think because he knows we'll get the team in second out of Spain's group. So more than likely Sweden. And he knows we can beat Sweden. Now, hopefully, if he's thinking that way, I hope to God Spain finish second and they come and clobber us. So that's all from me today, guys. I have 23 minutes and I don't even know. I could go on for hours. No, that's more podcasty, but yeah. It just mind boggles. I know I got one turn off on a tangent and I do that a lot, but the game itself was just terrible. Negative, boring. Scotland deserved to win, and yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Until next time, hopefully it's a more cheery video against Czech Republic. I don't think it will be because he can't change who he is. So yeah, hit the subscription button, guys. 50% of you aren't doing it. 50% of people watching are subscribed. 50% aren't. So if you're one of those 50% that aren't, please hit it. And until next time, thank you for watching. Goodbye.